Hello everyone, Kyle Turner here for NECFrontRow.com. It's 2017, Happy New Year. It's the first edition of NEC On The Run in 2017. We're talking men's basketball with Ron Ratner. Ron, how you doing?
Doing well. Glad to be back in the saddle here.
All right, we got the first week of conference play in the books. Ron, let's take a look at where we stand.
All right, Kyle, 1 week in, 10 games were played, and we saw it all. We had 2 overtime games, 2 buzzer-beating, fantastic finishes. We had comebacks, so we had it all last week. And let's start with the 3 teams that emerged unscathed with 2-0 records. Big surprise, St. Francis, Brooklyn. The Terriers were picked 7th in the preseason coaches poll. Came out strong, winning both their games in overtime, first against Bryant last Thursday, then on Saturday against Central Connecticut State. In Thursday's game, Bryant tied it up late, sent it to the extra session on this Adam Grant tip-in. Then on Saturday, we saw Eric Bowles drive the length of the court and then hit this double clutch three-pointer to send that game into overtime. St. Francis Brooklyn is doing it with a 3-guard set, and all 3 of these guys can really play. Eunice Hopkinson was an NEC All-Star last year, and he's joined by Glenn Sanabria, who sat out last season after a promising freshman year in 2014-15. Sanabria hit 7 threes in the win over Central Connecticut on Saturday, many from NBA range. But one of the keys to the success of St. Francis Brooklyn this year will be the emergence of freshman guard Rasheem Dunn. Out of Thomas Jefferson High School in Brooklyn, he's a 2-time NEC Rookie of the Week winner and has shown a penchant for delivering in the clutch, as he did, scoring 9 points in overtime against Bryant, then hitting some big shots in the Central Connecticut win. Mount St. Mary's also out to a 2-0 start. They won a pair of cliffhangers last week, first going on the road to beat LIU Brooklyn 67-65, then hanging on at home to defeat Wagner 57-56. We'll get back to the end of those games because those were truly fantastic finishes. For the Mount, Elijah Long, a sophomore guard, is coming to his own this season. He had 21 points on just 9 shots in the win over LIU. And we'll have plenty more to say about Chris Ray and his heroics later in NEC On The Run. Now on to our defending NEC champion, Fairleigh Dickinson Knights. FDU won both their games to start the year, boosted by the fact Earl Potts Jr. is back in the lineup after missing the first 7 games of the year with an injury. The Knights have depth, they have size, and they can put points on the board thanks to all-star Darian Anderson. The junior guard was outstanding last week, winning NEC Player of the Week honors after averaging 22 points a game. Mr. Big Shot did what he does best in a comeback win over Robert Morris, hitting this key 3-pointer with 2.5 minutes to play to give the Knights the lead for good. Anderson would then salt away the game at the line. FDU 2-0 with home wins over the Colonials and St. Francis U.
All right, Ron, so we got 3 teams up at the top with 2-0 records. We had some exciting games, but now let's shift to social media. Let's take a Twitter timeout.
Thanks, Kyle. Twitter timeout this week. Go down to Emmitsburg. Jamie and Christian said, proud of our team in the 1707 that showed up to support our team today. Tops in the league. Thank you. Our community is the best. Now, I can attest to it that the fan support down in Emmitsburg at Knott Arena is second to none. Tough place to play down there. They were up 83% in attendance last year and ranked in the top 25 in the NCAA in improvement in attendance. So great job by the fans down there, and it was nice for Jamie and Christian to shout them out.
All right, Ron, that's a great tweet from Jamie and Christian. Exciting time for the Mount right now. Speaking of quotes, let's move on to our next segment. Let's find out who said it.
Okay, here we go. Now, I've stumped you 50% of the time last year. Let's see what we got going here. All right. He is always a guy who I believe is going to make the right play at the right time. I just have so much faith and confidence in him. I am just glad the world is getting a chance to see it now. Kyle Turner, who said that?
Based on the play from last week, I'm going to go with Jamie and Christian because I think he's talking about Chris Ray.
You are correct, Kyle Turner. That was Jamie and Christian. Okay, he got the Twitter timeout and the who said it. We talked about Chris Ray just for a second earlier. He made 2 of the bigger plays that you will see all year. Talk about a guy who is delivering in the clutch. We go back to earlier in the year. Chris Ray takes the ball with a couple seconds left against George Mason, drives the lane, dunks it with a second to play. Mount wins. Now, let's go to Brooklyn, to LIU last Thursday. 4 seconds left in the game. Mount has to go 90 feet in a tie game. Now, normally you'd expect Junior Robinson, Elijah Long to get the ball. They gave it to their 6'8" forward, who, when I counted this, took 6 dribbles, went coast to coast, laid it in at the buzzer for our first NEC buzzer beater of the year on NEC tip-off night. But he wasn't done. Let's fast forward 48 hours. We are down in Emmitsburg at Knott Arena. It's a tight one. Wagner and the Mount. Mount up by 1 point. Waning seconds of the game. Corey Henson with the ball. The Wagner All-Star drives the paint. But take a look at Chris Ray running the length of the baseline from the right side all the way to the left side of the lane to reject the shot at the buzzer and to preserve the Mount win and their 2-0 start. What a week for Chris Ray. What a week for Mount St. Mary's basketball.
All right, Ron, 2 great plays from Chris Ray. It's 2 wins for the Mount. It's great facts about Chris Ray. Speaking of facts, let's go to the Did You Know?
Throughout the non-conference season, we talked about the NEC and its youth movement with so many underclassmen performing at such high levels. But did you know that of the top 10 scorers in the NEC, 7 are underclassmen? If you go to the top 12, 9 are underclassmen, and there's a bunch of freshmen in there also. So the future of the league is bright when you have a player like Nizre Zuzwa, Bryant, who's scoring over 21 points a game, or a Quincy McKnight, a sophomore from Sacred Heart, averaging 18 points a game. And you go down the line, you have Isaiah Still playing at a high level for Robert Marr's team that seems to be up and coming this year. And then there's freshmen like Bryant's Adam Grant, or St. Francis Brooklyn's Rasheem Dunn. They're just built for stardom, and you're seeing them hitting big shots already in the first week of NEC play. So I said it, the future is bright, and I can't wait to see what these young players have in store for us the rest of the season.
All right, Ron, you talk about the young players, so let's go to the under the radar. Who's the guy you're taking a look at this week?
Keeping with the theme of young players, my under the radar player is Wagner's Blake Francis. I really like this kid. He's come on strong in the last few weeks. He is a lefty 3-point shooting specialist out of Wagner College. He's shooting 52.4% from 3-point range. He leads the league by a wide margin, and he's ranked nationally. And I love his release, and I pointed out that it looks a little bit like Derek Fisher when he puts the ball up. And he hit some 2 big shots in the loss to the Mount, which we talked about on Chris Ray's block. But it was Francis's 2 threes that gave Wagner its first lead since the first half. So kudos to Blake Francis. It looks like Bashir Mason has a good one in Staten Island.
All right, Ron, so great things happening over there on Staten Island. We talked about players currently in the NEC. Now let's go to the NEC shout-out. Who are we shouting out this week?
We really enjoy keeping tabs on all our alums that have gone on to play professionally in Europe or wherever it may be. And the latest one we just found out about this week, Tevin Falzone from Sacred Heart, who had a really nice career and really built himself year by year and just got better and better. By the time he was a senior, he was averaging 11 points and 8 rebounds a game, was a key contributor to the Pioneers last year. He just signed to play in Spain for Zornotza in Basque County, and it's great to see him being able to further his career, play professionally, realize a dream. So we shout out Tevin Falzone, Sacred Heart. Great job.
All right, Ron, so that's a great NEC shout out, but now let's take a look at the upcoming TV games for the NEC.
Just one this week, Kyle, but it's a big one. It's a rematch. Last time we saw these teams on the same court, it was last March in the NEC title game with FDU winning at the Spiro Center, defeating Wagner and going on to represent the conference in the NCAAs. They're back at it again Thursday, 9 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. Preseason number 1 FDU, preseason number 2 Wagner. Doesn't get bigger than that. We're excited about it. And you can catch it all on CBS Sports Network this Thursday.
All right, Ron, well, that game should be exciting. It's a rematch of last year's NEC Championship game. Fans, don't forget, all other games can be streamed live and for free on NECFrontRow.com. For Ron Ratner, I'm Kyle Turner, and this has been Week 1 of NEC On The Run. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.